Hello everybody and welcome back. As always, I am Mateo311 and this is your one channel for everything VR related. Today, we're talking about the miracle that is Iron Man VR. Why is it a miracle? Well, if you're familiar with my channel, I'm known for being hypercritical. I've even been accused of being way too cynical during my hardware and software reviews. But not today, because Iron Man VR has definitely impressed me. As a PC VR snob with a Valve Index and RTX 2080 Ti, I jumped into this game expecting to be disappointed. My limited experience with the PlayStation VR and my knowledge of the overall specs had me convinced that the gameplay experience would be ruined. But man, was I wrong. So today I'm going to give you a spoiler-free breakdown of the game, and while it definitely has some flaws, which I will get into, I'm still absolutely loving it. Okay, let's get into this. Let's start with the most important factor, the gameplay. Camouflage easily succeeds in making you feel like Iron Man. Everything from signature moves like firing lasers from your palms, blasting off into the sky at jet-like speeds while spinning 180, and even dropping a good old-fashioned rocket punch. The game even captures that very specific clink you see in the movies when Iron Man slams into something or has a hard landing. The game focuses on mastering your flight skills and managing your array of weapons during combat. Levels generally follow a combination of exploration, scripted scenes, waves of enemies, and timed search and destroy tasks. There are also optional flight course missions and challenges. Your performance per level is ranked 1 to 5 stars, which results in research points that you can use on your suit. This adds to the replayability and gives you a reason to replay missions. Most upgrades come down to personal preference. Would you rather faster acceleration or the ability to use your boost more often? There is an array of auxiliary weapons that perform completely different, and there are multiple unlockable skins. You have the ability to save up to 2 separate loadouts, so if you find separate combinations of upgrades that you like, you could jump back and forth between them. Overall combat is fun and fast-paced. It mainly comes down to unleashing the right weapon at the right time and thrusting yourself out of the way of oncoming attacks. The flight mechanics, once you get the hang of them, are exhilarating. Simple exploration like circling a shield hover carrier is exciting, and the cutscenes just hammer home that feeling that you are Iron Man living in the Marvel universe. The environments are also extremely immersive. Tony's workshop is littered with little Easter eggs and just nods to the overall Marvel universe, and flying through the skies has a similar thrill to the VR title The Climb. The illusion is rarely broken, and I routinely experience goosebumps on the first level. Okay, let's move into the storyline. While it's definitely not the most original, in fact it's a story we've seen many times before, where the stark legacy of war profiteering and arms manufacturing eventually comes back to bite Tony in his ironclad ass. The storyline features some clever, subtle foreshadowing, and some that's overtly heavy-handed. Early on, you should know the overall direction the story is headed in. Obviousness aside, the game still has a better plot than the second and third Iron Man movies. Now, where the story does shine though is in its delivery. Interactions with the main antagonist Ghost are always exciting and at times outright spooky. Experiencing explosions firsthand or having a front row seat to meeting iconic Marvel characters once again truly makes you feel like Iron Man. So in this case, you're living the story rather than just hearing it. Okay, so let's move into those graphics. Iron Man actually does a pretty impressive job with the limited power of the PSVR. Backgrounds are convincing, which help that overall immersion. The game does feature some highly detailed models, but they do tend to be blurry at a distance, and the low resolution of the PSVR screen had many characters looking rather jagged. Even with these shortcomings, the artwork still uniquely captures the essence of Iron Man, and I rarely felt it pulling me out of the overall immersion or simply ruining the gameplay experience. So while I had a lot of positive things to say about this title, and I actually don't regret buying a PSVR solely for this game, it's not all rainbow-colored unibeams. Unibeam! There are some glaring issues, the majority of which simply come down to the PlayStation hardware. Those intense cutscenes are marred by immersion breaking and pace-halting load times. Simply transitioning from inside a plane out into the firefight can result in 20 seconds of pure darkness, or rather on a PlayStation VR, 20 seconds of staring at the space between the pixels because the screen door effect is just terrible. I also noticed a large amount of reprojection during some battles, which was just one more aspect that lowered the overall visual quality. The gameplay repetitiveness and predictable storyline may also disappoint some players. For me though, Iron Man is an absolute miracle. It managed to impress this PSVR snob, and I finally got to experience my fantasy of becoming Iron Man. Now if we could only get a PC port with some added bells and whistles. Okay guys, that was today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, as this was my official start of PlayStation VR coverage. If you'll like that, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and if you're new here, consider subscribing. Okay, I'll see you guys on next time.